in most of the language I've ever used, you can't really kind of mold the grammar to fit your needs. You're sort of stuck in this box.
Hi, I'm Andrew Harvey. I'm here with Loren Segal, and we are talking about RubyConf and about his talk at RubyConf. Loren, thank you so much for giving up some of your time to chat with us today.
Thank you.
Now, we are very interested in finding about you and your talk, so we're going to start with you. And most specifically, how did you come to be using Ruby and be part of the Ruby community, I guess?
I think, like a lot of people who started back in 2006 and 2007, seeing David's DHH's Ruby Make a Rails blog in 5 minutes video kind of turned me on to the idea of doing Rails. I had been using PHP and Java at the time, and I was kind of itching for something new. And Rails was sort of in the right place at the right time, so I decided to check it out and see what it was about. And I kind of fell in love with the language more than Rails. Like, Rails is great, but I'm kind of a language geek at heart, and Ruby was a really cool language. So I started digging deeper into the language and realizing there was a lot of cool things to play with, and there was a lot of room for me to actually create things because not everything was in place. There was a lot of room for improvement in the language and the community. So there was a lot of things to do to help out, and I kind of jumped in on that.
Very cool. So you mentioned that you like Ruby as the language. What is it about the language that really excites you?
I think it's the expressiveness of the language, the fact that you can kind of mold it into whatever you want it to be, well, almost whatever you want it to be. That's really kind of powerful and something I hadn't seen in pretty much a lot in most of the language I've ever used. You can't really kind of mold the grammar to fit your needs. You're sort of stuck in this box. And with Ruby, you can sort of, even though you're inside of the grammar, you can still it still sort of feels like you're writing something that's not Ruby at sometimes. Like, you look at things like Chef, where you're sort of writing Ruby code, but you don't really feel like it, and other DSLs like writing XML building tools and stuff like that, where you're just building up XML, and it doesn't really feel like you're doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, the language gives you a lot of power, basically, to sort of do fun stuff that you wouldn't be able to do in other languages.
Cool. Now, looking at your talk a little bit more, what was it that inspired you to write and submit this talk?
So over the course of my university career, I had been fortunate enough to work on a lot of static analysis tools in Java. And in doing so, I learned a lot about sort of the static analysis tools that are available in other languages, as well as sort of like just static analysis in general and some of these other tooling methodologies. And it sort of got me interested in just static analysis in general, also some debugging, profiling, other tools. And I've always sort of been interested in tooling. I usually just, when I write open source, I'm usually writing a tool. I'm not writing a sort of user and application. So it was sort of the best of both worlds. And so after I had been doing all that research in static analysis, I had realized that in the Ruby world, there's basically almost nothing available right now. And I really wanted to talk about what we have, like take a point of reflection and sort of look at what the tools that we write are and what the tools that we don't have are, and sort of figure out why it is that we've written so many tools of a certain type but not of another type, and sort of reflect and figure out maybe we should be writing other kinds of tools, maybe we should we, and sort of ask the question at the same time of, do we actually want to go in the direction of static analysis? Is that something we want to pursue? And I don't think we've ever had that conversation as a community, but I think it's something we should actually start having. Like it's a valid question to ask. Do we really think that static analysis can help us? And if the answer is no, then so be it. But if the answer is yes, then there's so many great tools we can be writing.
Mm. And I suppose following on from that, what is it that, at the end of your talk, what is it you want people to be walking away with?
So hopefully I want to be able to inspire developers to actually look at some of these tooling, sort of the areas of tools that I'll be talking about, and come away with like a little bit of inspiration to actually go out and write these tools themselves and see like, hey, we don't have any good linting tools in the Ruby community. Let's go. I could probably write one of these. I could probably take the JavaScript linting tool that's available, JS Hint or something, go out and port it over to Ruby, and now we have a linting tool, or something similar for static analysis. And hopefully, if I inspire people to start writing these tools that we don't really have in the community, we'll have better tools, and then we can attract people into the community that sort of do static analysis and care about those things and care about linting, and we'll end up sort of growing our tent as a community and getting more people involved. I think that'll be good.
Awesome. And finally, more broadly about the conference, have you had a chance to have a look across the schedule and maybe earmark some talks that you're really excited to get to?
I can't remember off the top of my head which talks I wanted to look at, but I remember specifically being extremely excited about a lot of the stuff on the schedule. I'm going to pop it open right now and just see. I remember there's a couple of talks. The REPL-driven development with Pry sounds really interesting. There's an API design talk, which I find pretty interesting because I really like gem development, API design. That's really interesting to me. There's also a BioRuby talk. There's really a lot of good talks this year. I was really surprised at how many good talks there were. I'm really impressed.
Excellent. It's going to be a great conference.
Yeah, I expect it to be.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks to you. Yeah, I think this is going to be awesome to have like more perspective and more in-depth coverage of like the conference. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I look forward to seeing you in Miami.
Yeah, you too.